Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, what's going on? BJ Kissel, Nick Leckey, Tucker Franklin coming to you from Jack Stack Barbecue in Lenexa, the 6th and newest location for Jack Stack. It's our title sponsor here on Outside the Trenches. We're going to talk a little Chiefs Broncos, last game of the Chiefs regular season. We're going to break all of that down as that game got moved to now being 3:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff in Denver at Mile High. The Chiefs have not lost to the Denver Broncos 2015.
That's a long time ago.
That's crazy. I have a stat from courtesy of Chiefs Communications. Chiefs have won 12 consecutive games against the Broncos dating back to November 5th, 2015. It is a franchise record streak against any single opponent in team history. It's also tied for the eighth longest such streak in NFL history dating back to the 1970 merger.
Wow. Tucker, honest question. When did you graduate high school?
2016.
Tucker was a junior.
High school.
Tucker
Yeah, I
was
graduated
a
high school
junior in
in
high
2016.
school the last time the Broncos have defeated Kansas City.
It's true.
You were a sophomore in high school when I started working at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We spent a whole episode on this, but we won't because we don't want to bother anybody. Before we get into this, Nick, what's your victory of the week? Let's start with that real fast.
My victory of the week is that I was able to get back home to Dallas. We were able to go hang out with the family, able to enjoy some breakfast tacos, and then make it back up here to Kansas City. New year, it's negative 50 degrees here, and it's fun. I love it. I love Kansas City.
It's cold.
I won't take personally the fact that your victory of the week was actually making it to Dallas, and anyone who's listening to the show meant that we got halfway there last week. Tucker, what's your victory of the week?
My victory of the week is eating these delicious burn-ins right here. Look at that. That's a glorious hunk of meat. I love burn-ins. It's my favorite.
Full disclosure, everybody's wondering, we normally go live a little bit earlier. I was a little bit late. These guys were waiting on me, and I'm hungry. So I'm going to set these guys up to talk about some things, and I'm going to chow down on my beans, my cheesy corn, and my Hatfield over here. But, guys, again, thank you, everybody watching, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching after the fact on Apple or Spotify, whether you're on our Twitch stream, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. We appreciate you for supporting us. Please rate, review, subscribe, all of that good stuff as we continue to build what we're doing here at KC Sports Network. I guess my victory of the week, I can't share the details of it, but it was very good. We'll announce in a couple months, whenever that is, whenever it comes to fruition. But it's a very good, very, very good thing, and we appreciate everybody for continuing to support what we're doing. Just like we thank Jack Stack Barbecue for supporting what we've been doing, and we want to support their happy hour. Because I know, Nick, we'll talk about it a little later, but I know you love a good happy hour. And they've got now a consistent happy hour across all 6 locations in Kansas City, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. They've got deals on drinks. They've got deals on food, things like barbecue bites and $5 baby back ribs. It's got a lot of cool stuff. So check that out if you're in the area. Go see Jack Stack Barbecue. If not, go to jackstackbbq.com and they'll ship it all over the country. All right, guys, let's go to the front of the queue. Tucker, first question. Broncos going into this game, you always start with the quarterbacks, and that's Broncos have a question mark going into this one, and that's never a good thing if you don't know on Thursday who the quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, not great for them to not know who their quarterback is. They have, had Teddy Bridgewater this year, landed on the injured reserve, had a terrible injury. You had to see that happen on a football field. Drew Lock came in, then injured his shoulder, so he's been a limited participant this week, and they activated, I believe, Brett Rippon from their practice squad or re-sign him. I can't remember the logistics, but he's now on the active roster. So Brett Rippon could be the quarterback against Patrick Mahomes on Saturday. That's weird to say. He's going to be playing on Saturday. Could be. Drew Lock limited, so he could also play. But still, big question mark with two not very good quarterbacks. I hate that.
I always say, like, does it matter? And you're like, there's not a knock on Brett Rippon, who's probably the best player in every team he's ever played.
Right.
But does it change your approach if you're like the Chiefs defensively? I know if it's like a running quarterback, maybe. But if facing somebody,
you never know. Like, it's something
Motivation.
where, I mean, you definitely have to put them down early to let their confidence, their underconfidence kind of creep in there. If they're confident, listen, if you're Denver, if you're a young player, most of the young players will be playing, you're playing for next season. You're playing to get re-signed by Denver. You're playing to get re-signed by 31 other NFL teams. So this is your spotlight to say, okay, what can I do on the NFL field? This is your chance. So it's like you got a bunch of fresh legs, a bunch of tryhards, a bunch of people who are really, this might be their only shot,
right?
Like legitimately the shot. So, you never want to put baby in a corner. But all at the same time, you have to come out and just lay the wood early and often.
I agree.
Tucker, do you understand that reference?
No, I have no idea.
That's like, as soon as he said it, I was like, that was 30 years before you were born.
Patrick Swayze movie.
You know who Patrick Swayze is?
I know who he is. I don't think I can name a movie.
Who is he?
He's an actor.
That brings us into the next thing. Nick, you kind of touched on it there, but the second topic on the front of the queue here is just last game of the regular season for the Denver Broncos. They are not in it. You were on your last year in the NFL. You were on a Super Bowl team, so you know what it's like to be on a team that last game of the regular season, you're preparing for the playoffs, you're getting ready. But you've also been on teams that weren't very good. What was your motivation as a guy that you take yourself as a professional? But now looking back, you can be honest about what were you thinking going into that last game? Is there anything real about mentally guys just kind of being checked out because you're not playing for the next week, I guess?
I can tell you it feels almost like a spring game where you're playing your hardest. You're trying to show everything that you can do, but at the same time, you're trying not to get injured because the off season is tomorrow. Your off season where you get to to me, the greatest part of the NFL season, if you're out of it, was okay, I get to chill tomorrow and I get to hang out. And it's like, and I loved it because what I would do for a month, I wouldn't work out. I wouldn't do anything. I would just drink wine, drink bourbon, smoke hella cigars, and not even touch a gym. Just let my body heal. Like kind of let my soul just. No. But you got to make it through this game, and you got to make it through unscathed, and you got to show teams that you're ready to play, and show teams what you can do. You got to put some good stuff on film. We played spoiler to San Diego, and they were San Diego in 06, and they were looking to clinch home field advantage week 17 back in the day. And we lost, but we gave it our all.
Yeah. That's part of the deal, and we talked about this a little bit with Drew Lock. He may be a guy because of kind of the ups and downs of his career, where he's at, the point where the Broncos are at. And where he is just trying to show teams, like you said, like he's got a shot at being a quarterback, former top pick, that kind of deal, like second round pick. But he's got motivation to go show people, like, hey, I can do this. He's trying to go earn a job. So you don't have that lack of motivation from the quarterback position going into this game. But that being said, Chiefs are more talented team, and they're more motivated. They have more riding on this game. So outside of anything, ball bouncing off shoulder pads and weird things that we had seen earlier in the year, don't expect this game to be too close. I'm not worried about this game in that way.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that Mike DeVito said on one-on-one this week is he talked about just this last game of the season for these guys who aren't in, who have got Cancun on the mind, right?
Man.
And the biggest thing is Mike said that when he was in New York, the biggest emphasis was, okay, don't get hurt, because then you got to stay the off season in New York and get rehab. And that's the thing is that, like, these guys, the guys in Denver aren't going to want to get hurt because then they got to keep the whole off season rehabbing, and that's no fun.
And if you're an old lineman, that means just keep your legs moving. If you're blocking someone, just keep your legs moving. Just keep blocking. You're like, oh, wow, Nick's getting great effort. No, Nick's not trying to get hurt. He's not trying to get rolled up on from behind. That's what he's
Could we do a drinking, like going off the cuff here, could we do a drinking game during the game of, like, every time you see a business decision, take a drink?
Yes.
Just like,
Absolutely.
just tag it on Twitter, like, business decision.
That would be good. You see a wide receiver. Nope.
To me, it's always the DBs like cleaning up plays on the back end, like those safeties are like, he's tackled.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Pro Bowl level tackling on this match on Saturday? Like, will it be?
But
a
Justin
Pro
Simmons
Bowl?
isn't a Pro Bowler.
Mm,
He should be. He should be.
Neither is Creed. Is Creed?
He's like an alternate.
Oh,
yeah.
He deserves
So is
it.
Trey.
That's
They won't be playing in it. You shouldn't have to worry about that. But yeah.
All right, let's move. Final topic here in the front of the queue, first segment here on the show. It's about staying healthy. If you're the Chiefs, what?
straight up.
Yeah, no. The only thing that matters in this game is staying healthy. I think the Chiefs caught a break based on kind of the gut punch that we probably all felt when we heard about the Orlando Brown having a calf injury during warm-up, so non-contact type thing. Like your immediate thought is, oh, that's Achilles. Yeah. Because the Chiefs often, and I know a lot of teams they'll pronounce or they'll announce Achilles injuries as calf injuries. And it's always like calf, like is it calf or is it an Achilles? Because two entirely different things. But the fact that he's practicing and isn't out for the year was good news coming out of that one. But with this game, knowing that first, like the home field, 1 seed, not as possible to buy isn't in play. It's even more important for these guys not to have those little things, not playing through that kind of crap. But get out of this game healthy. That'll be the most important thing.
We'll see some second stringers take some reps. That's what I want to see. Put this game away early, get the second stringers in there. Always good to have those guys get some reps before the playoffs. Never know when they'll be called upon with injuries and everything like that. But hey, the Chiefs were on their, 6th, 7th string offensive tackle last week, and they
killed it
just fine. I say just fine, but like Joe Tooney had a very good game.
Let me ask you, how hard is that for a guard just to step out and just go play tackle?
Beyond, like, it looks so easy. Like you think, oh my God, wait, you just move over one space. Not a big deal. It is so hard. Like if you just watch a tackle set and they're pass pro and they're fluid, they're whatever. And Joe Tooney looked like he was popping out for like to pick up a dual read on those tackles. His tackle set was terrible, but he got the job done.
Yeah.
Right. He did not get the job done. And like I said, I was watching that game the whole damn time thinking, okay, they're going to start blitzing over his side. They're going to start doing stuff for him. And they never did. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're stretched, because you can hide a guard, but you can't hide a tackle.
Right.
And, I mean, he didn't get exposed. I mean, he earned his money because, I mean, in college they asked me to play left tackle. I'm like, I can't do that. When I was a guard, it's a different world. It's a whole different world.
Yeah, we looked at
There was these stunts in games and things where he's not used to there not being a guy over there.
Exactly.
So do some of that stuff. And we talked about it on the halftime show. Going in, I wondered what kind of things that the Bengals might do when they had some time to think about it. Okay, let's run some game. Let's see how he handles these certain things. And I wasn't watching for him specifically, but it didn't seem like that stuff never happened.
They did not.
No. There was only a few times they sent it was like a nickel that they walked down. We looked at a play with Matt Castle actually yesterday where they sent one and it was a really good pickup by Tooney because he shifts and he just works down. Like he just shifts him out of the way. Right. It was a good pickup by Allegretti too to realize that he has to now get that end because it all shifts out and it was just a really good play overall. You can go check that out. Watch the Lessers play. Yeah.
You just talk. You just communicate with you. It's the biggest thing on all offensive lines, communication. Like if I'm the left tackle, the BJ's left guard, I'm like, hey man, we're right here. At any point, you go, we're right here.
Yeah.
And just you got that, and that's all.
What Joe Tooney, what he said and what he did last week is he showed a lot of leadership.
Wow.
Who else shows a lot of leadership? Fairway Independent Mortgage, because Fairway Independent Mortgage makes the home loan process as simple as possible by guiding you through every step, just as they've done for the past 25 years. Call Jennifer Dixon at 816-390-8898. It's 816-390-8898. Great rates, a focus on customer service, and the fastest turn times in the industry. That is Fairway Independent Mortgage. They will make you as happy as Nick's face just was eating whatever he just took a bite of, because you look very happy, my friend.
Wing.
It was like the perfect bite.
It's a good wing.
All right, let's get into Tucker's favorite segment as the Tucker's Crown Prime Beef Rib of the Week. What's your beef of the week on social media this week, Tucker?
It's not a hair product. That's for damn.
Well, yes, you're right. It's not. I'm actually thinking about growing my hair out a little bit. Maybe go medium with a little flow. Keep it back, and get the sides a little bit longer. That's not my beef, though. It's been a pretty good week, honestly. Haven't really been beefing with a lot of people. The big beef that's going on right now is Antonio Brown. I don't know if he's airing grievances left and right with Tom Brady was the first one that was since deleted. I think the tweet about Bruce Arians' text conversation, he screenshotted and put it up there about him playing. And it was like, hey, come in, you're going to play. And he's like, my ankle's not 100% right. He said, come in tomorrow and we'll talk about it. So that's been a big beef.
Alex Guerrero, is that the Tom Brady thing?
The Tom Brady thing, airing him out is like, I'll pay $100,000 and then we'll figure it out. Essentially, is I guess what Antonio Brown said happened.
You know what the world needs? More people with takes on this that have never talked to anyone involved in this entire situation.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
I never talked to Antonio. I had no idea. I don't know if this is a mental health thing. I don't know if he's just an ass. I have no idea. And I'm not going to pretend to. I'll say the whole thing's just messed up, and I feel bad for his teammates and everybody that's got to answer for these actions, because the backup tackle who's sitting in the media room, media walks over, just the nature of that business. Somebody's going to ask him because you're available. Talk about Antonio Brown. That guy may never even talk to Antonio Brown in his life.
True.
That's how that. It's not like these guys are all best friends. So you have some defensive lineman that's got to answer for Antonio Brown. Never been in a room outside a locker room on game day with him. I guess they're in practice, but like, not like they're friends or they talk or he can add any more insight than we can.
You work together. How many people do you work with? You work with 100 people. You hang out with everybody? No, you don't. You know everybody? No, you don't. It's just the way it is. You might be friendly, but it's not like, I know what this guy is from, what he's all about, and all that stuff. And yeah. Listen, Tom Brady is the GOAT because I've never seen, like when I first saw Antonio Brown thing, and he's like shirt off and doing like the peace sign on the end zone. So I go, why'd they Photoshop this dude in the end zone? Like I was like, what is this? What is this meme all about? I don't get this. And it was a real thing.
I saw the same thing. I thought the same thing when I saw it. I was like, how did they do that? And I was like, oh my God, like, that's what people are talking about.
I was like, what? He's got this, what's going on here? But then Tom Brady's able to pull out a win after that distraction. Yeah. Like, that's amazing. Like, I would be like, I've never before seen somebody quit mid-game.
They were down 2 scores, too. Like, yeah, they came, like, that was a good comeback and a great throw by Tom Brady, too.
It's amazing. But it's almost one of those things where you can tell, like, they don't need him. They're at the point where he was starting to contribute. He was going to earn his bonus and stuff. But they don't need him, man. They don't.
Yeah, it's also one of those, like, you have talent, they're going to figure out a way to make it work for you. And if it seems like a distraction on the outside because everybody's talking about it, and now that he's gone nuclear with it, there's no going back from what they've done at this point. But he's a talent, and the NFL doesn't care. Like, he's going to end up on somebody's going to give him a shot.
Yeah.
He can help somebody win a football game. They're going to shove him in a corner. They're going to give him 2 handlers, 2 interns that are like, your job is to follow this guy around.
Do they have handlers?
I don't know.
What would that process look like if they did? Let's say.
I know that there have been times, and it wasn't even Chiefs and things that I've heard of players that have behavioral or just they need extra help. Like, the teams will go out of their way to provide whatever they need as far as resources if it's somebody that just lives with them, like somebody that lives with them. We've heard stories of that years ago with some guys that we know, where a team signed a questionable guy that had a questionable character, trying to work his way back, and to help him, they had him live with somebody that's job is just kind of keep him on the straight and narrow and all those kinds of things, and invest into that player and their mental health and all those things, which I think is really cool. And there's a lot of that doesn't get promoted. Like, none of that stuff ever gets talked about as far as what the teams often do to try to make it work. And it's tough because the team's doing it because they want to help the guy. They really want to keep the guy in trouble. They want to get that guy on the field to help him win football games. Yeah. So
I think my one critique of sports is that your level of, like, if Antonio Brown was not a good player, he'd been gone a long time ago. Yeah. But your talent is equal to the level of nonsense that they'll put up.
Yeah.
And I think it's a sad take on sports. I don't want to bum anybody out, but it is what it is. And it's been that way from middle school, high school on up. You get more chances with that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I do hope he gets help.
Yeah, I like to give. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Usually, that's usually the side that I like to err on. But, like, once you see all this happen, the Le'Veon Bell thing happened last year. You got to think, man, Mike Tomlin has to be the best coach ever. Like, if you think about having all those attitudes in that same locker room, and then having Ben Roethlisberger on top of it, that's just what a coaching job by him.
Put this out there, just completely. It's not on our topic. We'll get to the next one, Nick. I know it's your favorite topic, but how did you guys feel about the way that Ben Roethlisberger was kind of celebrated.
He didn't play a very good game, by the
I'm
way.
not. I don't care about it.
But yeah.
Pausing on the field stuff. There was a lot that was ignored, and I just Hall of Fame player. He did a lot on the field, but you know what? I got nothing else to say. You don't have anything positive to say. Don't say anything at all. So,
I mean,
good thing I set the segment up.
If you're, for real, right?
I'll let you guys do it. That's what I think.
Patriot news breaks over here. But I mean, look at Ben Roethlisberger's history, right? He adds some stuff, and he lives in a fishbowl, and maybe forgot that for a little bit. But yeah, it seemed like some interesting things happened. Some allegations went away. Yeah, I think, but that's the thing about sports, man. You celebrate the good times and you forget about the bad things. And I think every team has their skeletons.
Yeah.
Everybody has their skeletons, and you're just happy that some people, hopefully they learn from their mistakes. Not everybody's perfect, and people have some skeletons in their closet, and you got to know better that if you're in the NFL, you're a target.
And I'll pause because we don't know all the details, and we'll pretend to know because there are some local stories where people don't know everything, and so got to pause there. But still, it was just interesting. For me, it was uncomfortable.
It was.
The way that everybody was talking about it, I was like, really?
Did we just forget this all happened?
We can just talk about him being on the field and all this, but the way that then people start using these descriptive words about leader and this and that, I was like, leader on the field, all that. But a few of the words are just like, you didn't have to use that word. Because
there's like a separation. And it's almost like I remember a personality change when I would go onto the field, right? Because you're the man in the arena, as the Tom Brady. Took the coolest, whatever. It's what we are.
So cool.
But you step into that arena, and it's almost your sort of biblical, ancient Roman gladiator sort of concept, where I just come in here and this is kill zone. I'm in the field. I'm at whatever grocery store, and I'm the next guy. Hey, how are you? But if we go to the arena, it's different. It's a flip of it.
It's obviously a completely different sport and all of that. But like, I'm pretty jokey and all this. But like, I was on the baseball field. Like, I felt like I threw 100 miles an hour, and like I was the guy, the thumber. Like, I threw a bunch of changeups. But we were playing Texas. A guy popped up, threw a changeup. Standard. I hit a pop up. He's running around the base, buzzes the mound, and it's just like, you got fucking lucky. And I heard him mutter it as he walked by me, and it was just one of those like muttered under his breath, and I, not under my breath, and pointing at him, I said, "Get off my field, you little."
Oh, I like how
just naturally it came out, and people flip, and I would see it with guys like Chris Jones, and a lot of guys are goofy, and all of a sudden they get on the field, and it's like you're up close, staying on the sideline. They're so big, they're so fast, like dudes are. Different deal. I wish every NFL fan that has takes about whatever they think it is should go stand on a sideline during an NFL game and see how big and fast these guys are and run into each other and be like, now, do you have the same take that you did before?
Yeah. Well, I like the best when the Washington football players got into a fight, someone threw a punch, and people were like trying to blow it up. And I remember I heard it, and I went into my family was watching. I'm like eating in the other room or something, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what brothers do. You get mad at each other and you throw a punch. Water on the bridge. Seriously, I've seen coaches get cussed out on sidelines. I've seen fights on sidelines. I've seen like real people go at it. Like if you'd had a camera on the 04 sidelines in Arizona, there's a lot of nonsense. We had about 500 people in the stands. I could hear conversations going on. It was awesome. A lot of dysfunction on the sidelines.
I think, is that like a former, again, this is a completely off-topic discussion, but I had this discussion with people, and I don't know if it's like high-level sports or just high school athletics. Like, it's not trying to be like that, but people played competitive sports at some level and been an athlete. Like, you're used to coaches talking to you in a certain way, and you're used to talking to other people in the heat of the moment in certain ways. That translates in some ways to like off the field, and like this because of how we talk with KCSN, where it's very much like an on the field, like direct. It handles well because you're used to, like, I can tell you've played sports. When you talk to people that way that have never played sports or don't understand this, they're like, why are you talking to me? Like I'm not. Just get it done. Like, just do it. And
that's the thing. When I coached high school football this year, like I was pretty brash. I mean, I just like say things. And I remember talking to my girlfriend, Tara, and be like, I say some stuff. I'm just like, why did I say it like that? It's just like all comes out. And then there's sometimes just like a fountain of cuss words that come out of your mouth. And you're just like, whoa, I just didn't even think I was going to say that.
That's the funniest line from Christmas Story. When he said, my father wove a tapestry of swear that hung over a cloud of Lake Michigan, Michigan's Avenue or something like that. Yeah. I say my best swearing for my children. It's fun.
Let's move to Nick's favorite topic, and that is what makes Nick happy, and that is a good happy hour. And the other thing that makes Nick happy is blind mail. So let's get to the final segment in this show. And Tucker, let's have you go first. What is your segment? Or Nick, do you want to go first?
I'll go for it.
All right, let's have Nick go first. His blind mail. Anyone who's listening, we each bring a different topic. We don't know what the others are bringing up. We talk about it for a few minutes here to close out this show.
So my blind mail, and I'm going to go a lot of ways with this one, but how do you rate this past performance? Is it a hollow victory from Cincinnati? Did the Chiefs lose? Or is it a tale of two halves? What's your preferred way to look at this L that the Chiefs took in Cincinnati?
I don't think it's hollow because I think Jamar Chase played probably one of the best games of a wide receiver in the history of ever. No, that's not true. Randy Moss, what was that? 4 catches, 4 touchdowns? That's a pretty good game.
Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, that's a pretty good game. So best rookie to have. I mean, there's the most yards. So I think Jamar Chase played really well. Joe Burrow played really well. I think it is a tale of two halves if you look at it. Chiefs were getting after Joe Burrow, but they couldn't bring him down, and that's tough when you get that pressure and everything. And kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. Casey Lab talked about that. What was that been Monday? After the game, they just kind of take their foot off the gas. It's kind of a traditional Casey thing. If you think about if you think about like the Buccaneers game last year, that's one of them I think of, where Tyreek Hill had like 475 yards or something in the first quarter, and then they only won by 3. So I bet the Chiefs do that a lot, and so like it wasn't anything that was maybe it was surprising that they ended up on the other side of it, but it was definitely a tale of two halves in my opinion.
I think the Bengals got some breaks and they took advantage of them by making plays. They were, I think, unfairly given if the margin of error swung due to not players. But some of the referees were just that margin of error and the plays that make the difference. That was more impact. I know there's been a lot of analytics stats put out there regarding the yards and the percentage of offense that was gained based on questionable or just erroneous, not even like a subjective, like the guy jumped off, like the offensive lineman moved, like those kinds of things. I felt like was like normally 50-50 calls can swing a game. There were so many of those that it can affect it. I'm never going to blame I'll never say the refs ended it, but they gave the Bengals opportunities and more. And Jamar Chase just went out there and freaking did it. Like I'm going to lose my mind and I understand that Charvarius Ward 50-50 ball, he gets beat or Jamar Chase just makes a play. When I see things like so-and-so just getting burned and they show a slow-mo replay of them body to body and his hands like on the football. And he's like, he got burned. I'm like, his hands on the football and Jamar Chase just lost him. Like, I just made a play. So I'm not going to be critical of the DB. Like, yes, you guys get paid to make those plays. You want to make them more often than not, but that's not getting burned.
You know, I don't think
one.
You know, I think that it was a bit of a hollow victory. I think 9 times out of 10, I don't think Burrow's making those throws. I don't think we're getting a weird horse collar sort of, you know, and not roughing the passer, but unnecessary roughness call on the sideline. But then the Chiefs only got 3 drives? 3
in the second half.
3. You get usually 3 drives a quarter, at least 2 a quarter. So I mean, that's how you figure things out. That's how extend those drives, and that's how you win games. But I don't think even after the interview, like I give Joe Burrow props. It's legit. Yeah. He made one. He made my favorite Joe Burrow play was not the throw it up and Jamar's there somewhere. My favorite play was he was about to get sacked and the running back was running just out and he just threw it to the ground. And it looked like intentional grounding, but the running back was there. I'm like, what a smart play. And that's like I hate to say it, it's kind of like a Tom Brady-esque play. Like it's smart. You avoid the sack, you move on, you don't get intercepted. Right. Like that guy's smart. That guy's going to be clever.
I don't know if Chris Jones was technically blocked the entire game. Joe Burrow's still out there making plays. So we make excuses for young players, like, oh, he needs a good line to make play. Like Joe Burrow's out there making plays with him, like offensive line's not functioning at a high level at all.
He got beat up and he still stood in there.
Joe Burrow's going to be Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, like Mixon, like all those guys are going to be a problem for a while. If they fix off the offensive line and get some defensive playmakers, like Bengals are going to be one of those teams that you worry about in the future. And we've talked about that before. Yeah. Not going to bop you on your Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Burrow take after this one.
It was bad. I will admit I messed up.
But looking into the future and like teams that worry you like 3 or 4 years down the road based on having a guy like Joe Burrow and go out there and make plays, and a guy like Jamar Chase, those are the teams that can worry you.
Yeah.
At least like the Titans can go beat the Chiefs. Derrick Henry can be back, but we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be worried about going up against a team like that because Mahomes can score points. Where we get in a problem if we're playing well is when the other team's got a guy, and Jamar Chase was that dude. So, all right, Tucker Blindale, what do you got?
That couple's flying. Did you see him? Holy cow.
You got a beautiful view of 435.
Oh, yeah, it's great. My blind nil is what's better than this?
I'm pleased. I'm so damn pleased right now. I have like a half a plate of what I got, the big pig and some wings here, and I'm like Andy Reid plotting, like my offensive game plan right now. How I'm going to attack this bowl of fries. I'm going to attack this cheesy corn and pit beans.
Yep.
Attack that last wing on the plate. And this room is so beautiful too. I feel peaceful. I do. I'm just whatever. I'm good.
Should give the people a 360. 360 view. Just go behind there and just spin it around.
You want to?
I don't know if the cord will reach. I talk a big game and now I didn't do it. Well, fine.
What I'm gonna like is you get it up live and there's so much stuff here. You're gonna trip and fall, and then we're gonna turn the camera and show you just laying.
So you're blind nil.
My blind nil is what's better than this?
Nothing. This is a great spot.
Thanks for preparing for that topic.
Tucker did a lot of research into this thing.
Nothing. I already cleaned out my cheesy corn. The beans, working on it.
You gotta go.
Ooh.
Up now. Go up.
What's the lighting gonna do?
Yeah.
We're about to find out.
It's not.
There it is.
Stop.
Look at that. Doesn't get better than that.
Beautiful.
This is going to be great for audio listeners.
For anyone who's listening, Tucker is simply showing a simple video of 435 and behind. So, all right, let's go into the final segment here. And this has to do with some of the meetings and some of the growth stuff we're talking about at KC Sports Network. And it's a trick question because some of these guys know where some of our growth is going. But, Nick, if you could add any podcast thematic or any kind of show to KC Sports Network, what's a niche that you would like to see a weekly show dedicated towards?
Let's get weird. And just me going riffing on.
It has to be about KC Sports.
Oh, it doesn't have
in
to be
some
KC
way.
Sports.
There needs to be a KC Sports tie-in in some way, right?
They're like best jersey combinations. I don't know.
Aesthetic of a sports aesthetic podcast.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm into sports aesthetics.
Wait, see, I don't do sports podcast. I do this one, and I love it.
It's gonna be like weird stuff with Nick.
I like that, but like, what's weird today? And it's like talk about like someone's the soccer player who has a bulldog or something. I don't know.
That's kind of cool.
Or talk about. I would love to interview Chiefs players and talk nothing about football.
Yeah.
Like say, who's one of the O linemen likes to rip packs.
Andrew Wiley.
Yeah, Wiley. And for those who don't know, likes to open up baseball card packs. And I think that's really cool stuff. So I could talk about anything, anybody. And that would be my thing. Would be get the 4-1 about that. Because if I'm an NFL player during the season, last thing I want to talk about is football. You want to talk about what's my hobbies? What can help me appeal on them streets? Get some deals, some NIL deals.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. I'd like to see that.
When I talk, and not a lot, when I talk to like current players, executives, coaches, whatever now, I rarely talk to them about football.
Correct.
Like what's going on. Like
They won't talk
it's
about
a
that.
weird thing anyway. Just like running to play. Like, what's
We'll talk
so-and-so
about
gonna play? I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, how's your family?
Yeah, you like talking about work, or you're not at work?
Right.
Tucker, what about you?
Here's one. I'm going to the KC Comets game.
Okay.
On the 22nd. It's a
You were tweeting about that.
T-Mobile Center. Yeah.
You're excited.
Big game. Tacoma Stars, KC Comets, big game, indoor soccer at the big stadium.
Go.
T-Mobile. Gonna be the T-Mobile.
Oh, it's at
Center.
the Sprint Center?
Yeah.
It's not sprinting anymore.
It'll always be the Sprint Center, but
like San
Saints. I was just
In Dallas, we have the Coca-Cola Starplex.
Mm.
And it's something else now, but it'll forever be the Coca-Cola Starplex.
there you go. Well, I'm going to be going to that game, and I've decided I'm going to be the biggest KC Comets influencer ever. So I got tickets right on the glass. I'm going to be there with some of my buddies. We're going. So a KC Comets podcast talking about indoor soccer. Really, you could make it all soccer in Kansas City. There's a lot of soccer to talk about in Kansas City with Sporting, Casey
Comments.
Current. Sorry, my brain stopped working right there. That happens sometimes. CTE kicking in, it happens. But yeah,
Soccer podcast.
I do it. Yeah, soccer. Interesting.
I'm not going to answer that question because it's very biased and leading.
That's
to
true.
where
You
we're going to
can't-
KC Sports Night. Would you say we are going to be expanding? It's going to be very fun and exciting, and we appreciate everybody who's been along this journey with us. So before we let everybody go, 2 final thoughts. Can we make them on the game since we've gone off the rails like the last 15 minutes? Sorry, on the football show, you guys have a football take.
Okay.
What do you got for this game? Chiefs, Broncos, Saturday, 3:30 kickoff.
Can the Chiefs, if they win or lose, does it change up?
Yeah.
So
Tucker, do you know the scenarios off the top of your head?
Kind of. So if the Chiefs lose and everybody else wins, like in the AFC, right? They could be the number 4 seed, so they could be the last of the division winners.
Okay.
There's some weird scenarios going on. So if the Jaguars beat the Colts, the Chargers and the Raiders can agree to tie, and they can both make the playoffs.
I like that one.
That
was my favorite.
Let's talk about
scenario.
that.
That's
Let's
my
talk about this.
favorite scenario in the whole wide world. Talk about Pro Bowl blocking.
Last 2 minutes of the show
Get on the timer.
is going to be, do you see a scenario in which 2 teams would agree before a game
No
to
chance.
kneel it the entire time so both of them can go to the playoffs?
I want that to happen, but there's no chance they would agree to that, which stinks.
Everything about the NFL tells you that if it was up to them and they weren't worried about all the other, they would do it 100%.
Goodell would take away a draft pick.
He absolutely would, because it just ruined the broadcasting and all this. But those guys are there to go to the playoffs and to try to win
That's
championships.
true.
And both teams have a better opportunity to do that by letting them get into the playoffs.
You know what they should do? They should hold a raffle. They should hold a raffle for who gets to be the O coordinator today. And just have some random Joe off the street just be like, hey, here's Tecmo Bowl. You get 6 plays.
What if we did like a Make-A-Wish for like hundreds of kids and they all got to suit up and they all just went out on the field and kneeled down?
That'd be so cool. Like, you could take this so far. You really could.
How could Roger Goodell say no to that?
Well, he's a no fun
For the
league,
kids.
so
Doing it for the kid. He hates kids.
he does.
You hate kids?
Well, listen. Do you know?
There's a lot of ways you could ask him that question. Be like, Roger, we saw that you canceled that. Is it true? Can you confirm or deny that it's true that you hate kids because of your?
My cleats, my cause. How come he just doesn't do my cause every week? How come there's only 1 week for that?
That's a good point.
No fun league.
It's harder to monetize when you don't make it a special.
Fair enough.
Scarcity. Jordan.
It's true. Yeah, it is true. We talked about Jordans last week.
Football take.
Oh. I just want to see some second stringers. I just want this to be an easy game. I want the Chiefs to kind of take care of business. I think this is a really big take care of business week, take care of business game. Get out there, score some points, have a break, just keep the streak alive, kind of end Vic Fangio's run in Denver, because I think this is probably his last game. He was on a short lease with bringing Teddy Bridgewater in, and then Bridgewater not playing very well. So I think this kind of just take care of business. That's what I want to see.
I saw a tweet that Chris Jones gets a $1.25 million bonus due to incentives if he gets another sack. He'll give him 10 sacks, and his contract gives him a $1.25 million incentive.
That's not nothing.
So
And there's no Butler Reisner.
that is so much money. That's so much money to anyone. That is a lot of money to Chris. And there's no doubt in my mind that that players know this.
Oh, yeah.
If you were a teammate, if you're Frank Clark and you run by, does Frank know that Chris needs that to get that money? And so if they run by, would Frank know, like, hey, don't let Chris touch it?
This is a locker. This is a team meeting. This is a D-line meeting room discussion. Hey, fellas, I'm 1 sack away, $1 million. Listen, if we do that, I'm taking us to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I am so here for all of this
I get
stuff.
2 sacks. I'm taking all you guys to Hawaii. How many guys in the D-line room? 8?
Yeah.
I'm taking
Maybe
all you to
practice squad,
Hawaii.
like
I'm spending
11.
$100,000. We're taking family to Hawaii, hopefully after they win a Super Bowl, and say, or guess what? Here's a voucher to take your family to Hawaii on Chris Jones.
If we see everyone on the defensive line celebrate when Chris gets a sack, we'll know. When all of a sudden, like, you see Colin Saunders on Twitter, he's like, let's go!
If you see guys up on
Ali
the
Kamiki-Maka,
sideline, on the sideline jumping for joy.
But I just want to see Chris Jones do like a sack celebration, just if he gets,
Let the world know.
then
Like,
you know.
it's going to be tweeted by everyone immediately, because once the information gets out there, everyone's got it queued up.
Yeah.
He gets that sack, everyone's going to talk about the money. Lean into it. The whole freaking world's going to talk about it as soon as you hit it now. It's out there.
Yeah. What was that?
It is something like
He's like
this.
shooting birds or
Oh, he's
Right?
shooting birds.
I
That
was
what it
like-
was? Yeah, you shoot birds. There you go. Exactly. You ever done shooting birds?
Duck hunter.
Duck hunter.
I've seen the game.
Well, you've
I've
done
played
duck
it
hunter
before,
with the old Nintendo game. With the, yeah.
you ever played it?
yeah. Like the arcade style one, not on like
You ever
the.
played like a world-class track meet? Like race the cheetah? You know what I'm talking about at all? The little pad? I got it in my house.
Okay.
I'll bring it.
Come over.
Old school. That's like before its time. If you really think about it, Nick.
I never remember
That
that
stuff was before its time.
Duck hunt still to this day baffles me how it works.
How it
without
works?
an infrared sensor.
It's like the Wii.
No, the Wii U had a sensor though.
Oh, it didn't have a sensor.
No sensor, bro.
How did you know you were shooting that bird? How did you know where you were aiming? Yeah.
So what it does, it puts it. It's an infrared or it's something where it turns the screen black, and then you get the duck as white. That's how.
I need a podcast on this.
I've looked this up before.
I was the kid, like, I was fat when I was little. I wasn't fast. So if I did like the world class, I couldn't move my body. So I did the world class track meet. I never beat the cheetah. So I'd get down and I'd be like,
Everyone would. Then you do it once, like running. Another time, you on your hands and knees, just bapping that thing. Just
Nintendo thought they were getting like kids to exercise. It took about 8 seconds of
The
a.
Wii Fit, kind of the same thing. Like people were just like on their couch just to do it.
Listen, we got the Wii, we got the Wii Fit, and I remember I got on there and I was 305 playing NFL, and it fattened me up like on the knee. Like to this day, my knee is still heavy set. Like I'm like a big boy on whatever. I'm like, dang, you gotta do me like that, Nintendo. Call me out. Appreciate that. I'm gonna eat my emotions right now, that's for sure.
All right, we're gonna get back to this food. And, we appreciate all of you for tuning in. Everybody who sent us comments and questions, we appreciate all that. And thank you for supporting what we're doing at KC Sports Network. Thanks to Jack Stack Barbecue, Jules, and everybody here at Lenexa for taking care of us. We're gonna deep dive into this food again. Chiefs, Broncos, Saturday 3:30 kickoff. We will see you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Have a great day. See you later.